Morning, and we were just talking a decade ago. It was, started with what you titled First Circle Friends. Uh, Things kind of got interrupted by COVID a few years ago, but working on getting things, I hate to say restarted, but you mentioned kind of getting rebuilt. But we mentioned First Circle Friends. What is that? Something that's needed in the community. Tell us, when we say First Circle Friends, the first question, what is it?
First Circle Friends is a program that offers people with memory loss a 5-hour opportunity to be engaged with other people, enjoy a good time, get them out of their home. And what that does for their caregiver is it gives them a 5-hour break. You know, people with memory loss are often stuck in their homes. They don't get to be out with other people very much. And it's really draining on their caregivers. So when the person with memory loss has an opportunity to be with others, do some fun things, and their caregiver gets a break to go shopping, take a nap, read a book, whatever they need, both come back together at the end of the day refreshed and ready to face the challenges ahead.
So I got some questions. Of course, we'll get this mentioned a couple of times. You got a big event coming up. If somebody's got some questions about First Circle Friends and what you can do to help them out, you got a big event coming up. Tell us a bit about that.
Yes, as you mentioned, we were founded 10 years ago. Our first session was on September 12th of 2014, and so we're celebrating our 10th anniversary with an open house this coming Thursday, day after tomorrow, 6:30 at Zion Lutheran Church here in Clinton. That's at 439 3rd Avenue South here in Clinton. It's an opportunity for people to learn about our program, meet our volunteers, bring their loved one along so he or she can experience what we do and see if this is right for them.
Paul, you mentioned when they come, do you have some people who may be a little leery of leaving, the caregiver leaving someone with you? Not that you don't do a good job, but sometimes that a little bit of a hurdle you have to overcome, that this is a good thing?
Well, that's part of the reason for the open house. You get to meet the people involved. And they need to be assured that we are all volunteers who run this program, and we all have been trained to work with people with memory loss. So it's not a fly-by-night program. Lutheran Services in Iowa has done our training, and so we are ready to deal with the people who come.
What kind of things can you do? What kind of, you mentioned activities. I'm sure the kind of no blanket things, but everybody maybe can't do the same thing. But you try to fit what works for the individuals with their volunteer.
Absolutely. One of the principles of First Circle Friends is that each participant, that's our clients, is paired up with a volunteer, so they get a lot of individual attention. We get to know them and what they're interested in, what they're able to do or not able to do, and so we are able to tailor our activities to the people that we have with us. And we've changed over the years. One of the interesting things that happened a few years ago is a wife said, you know, he really gets a little tired after lunch. This is from 10 to 3, so it includes lunch, and likes to take a nap. So we can do that. So we got a couple of recliners, so he could go sack out, and the rest of us did some fun activities while he was doing that. If you want a picture of what a typical day is like, we usually have a topic or focus. Let me just go back a little bit and use Valentine's Day back in February as a focus. Start out with coffee, refreshments, but then talk about Valentine's Day. Where did it come from? And what do you remember from when you were a child? Everybody remembers Valentine's Day at school, and people with memory loss remember those days even though they don't remember yesterday. And so they are engaged in that. Maybe bring in a little story of how we got to Valentine's Day. Who was St. Valentine? In fact, there were several of them. We made some poems. We put together some simple poems and did some other activity sheets as well as some light exercise. Then we sang some songs, love songs, Let Me Call You Sweetheart, things like that that kind of go back to what they can remember. After lunch, some puzzles, word search or other puzzles, simple games. And then we had a printout of a Valentine card that they could decorate, color, so on, and write their poem in it. We had one lady who said, I don't know what to write. And then all of a sudden she started spouting out this really beautiful poem. And I said, write that, write that. That's beautiful, put it in your card. And so they had a card to take home. And we kind of ended the day with the Charlie Brown Be My Valentine video, which is always kind of fun.
Well, you mentioned that you do this, and we ought to mention this here before we get done. How often does the First Circle Friends meet, gather? I'm not sure, what term do you put on it? I hate to say, is it a gathering? Is it a, whatever you want to call it?
Well, we just call it a session.
A session.
It's an opportunity to be together. Currently, we meet twice a month on the second Friday and the fourth Thursday from 10 to 3. We're meeting at 2 area churches. And we meet on different days of the week because some people have a particular day. They always do a certain thing on Friday or always do a certain thing on Wednesday. And so this way they can at least participate on one of those occasions. So it's twice a month, second Friday and fourth Thursday from 10 to 3.
And Paul, once again, if somebody wants to find out more, maybe we'll throw in a pitch too. You mentioned volunteers, but there's the open house. Those are for maybe potential clients. But also mentioned, do you need volunteers? Do you still need help if somebody wants to? Obviously, they go through the training and all that process. But
Correct.
Do you need volunteers as well?
Oh, we'd love to have more volunteers. In fact, we would like to go more than twice a month, but we don't want to wear out our volunteers. So if we had more volunteers, we could expand that. I remember a couple of caregivers leaving a session, and one of them said to the others, oh, this is so good. I wish it were every week. And the other one said, I wish it were every day.
Well, Paul, once again, you got an open house. When is that coming up?
The open house is coming up on this Thursday, day after tomorrow, from 6:30 to 8 o'clock at Zion Lutheran Church here in Clinton. So that's September 26th. 6:30 to 8 o'clock. And we'll do a little sampling of our session, meet some people, have some refreshments, and a good time. If people would like more information, they're welcome and encouraged to call me. They can call 563-321-0030. So that's 321-0030.
Paul, we better get on our weather forecast. I know we could talk for the rest of the day probably on First Circle Friends, but we better keep things moving along. Get to that open house if you got questions. If somebody wants to come, you mentioned bringing their loved one, but if the caregiver can come, maybe can they come alone and check it out?
Absolutely.
Maybe an evening time isn't good for somebody to come, but they can come by themselves and check it out.
Of course, we'd be delighted to have them. Remember that we wrap care around your loved one so you can take time for yourself.
Thanks, Paul Holmer, coming in to visit with us about First Circle of Friends.
Some of us lucky enough to see some showers for the first part of our Tuesday, and like